Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we are back on Heartbreak Hill, a map that is taking inspiration from the Brood War map, as someone so rightfully pointed out in the comments. And today our contestants are Fiddler and, yes, he's back, Mr. Goopy. Been a while since Goopy has been on the channel. To be honest, I thought they'd stop playing, so it's good to see them back in the game. Now, Goopy did used to be top 10 at one point, but with a long hiatus, a lot of people have moved up in the ranks past him. So we'll see how he manages to do against someone in the current top 20, which is Fiddler. Goopy's obviously a lot further down there now with multiple OS resets that have happened. The max OS number has gone up so much now that Goopy's obviously just didn't move. Bar doesn't really have any like OS degradation for being away. You just don't show up in the leaderboards eventually, and on top of that, you know, your OS number still stays the same. So Goopy may not necessarily still be a 44 OS player, but we'll find out, I guess, soon. He's already e-stalled once, unfortunately, due to the wind dropping, but could be doing worse. Now, if I sound a bit nasally today, I do apologize. I'm a little bit ill, all bunged up, but hopefully you'll just have to deal with it, I'm afraid. Now, as we zoom out on the map, just for those that don't remember this map, early game is relatively difficult here because there's a lot of hills and such. This cliffside here can be passed by units, as we're about to see this grunt, or this grunt, as you see here, walking just straight up the hill. It does make it a little bit difficult if you've got thugs at the top there that can kind of cause problems for you, but otherwise, you know, it's a pretty good defensive position. You do quite often see people walk up here and build like a vehicle lab up here. I haven't seen that in a little while though, so maybe that's kind of fallen out of favor for just keeping up with bots. In fact, when we last saw this map, actually, a proxy lab for the opponent was actually built up here in an attempt to keep pressure on the opponent's base by constantly sending units down there. So maybe a proxy lab on the like wide flanks is now becoming a bit more of the plan. Good radar position here by Fiddler. It's going to provide tremendous vision in the surrounding area as long as he catches that bit there. He also has one down here, so yeah, very good vision all round. Goopy doesn't have much in the way down here, but he is getting there slowly but surely. Both players just chunking out a bunch of grunts at the moment. No real unit changes, but that's to be expected at this stage. And both players just taking it slow. Now, one difference we can see straight off the bat, though, is that you can see how Fiddler's kept his common base, and Goopy has expanded with his con. Now, this is quite a common tactic, at least it used to be, in the older meta, where you would always pretty much expand with your com. But it's becoming less and less favorable nowadays, so we'll see how it plays for Goopy. Goopy has walked quite a long way so far, and if he can get LLTs down, you know, here and here, for example, he has secured himself, you know, 6 extra mexes in relative safety, which works out pretty well for him. While this fight in the center here could be anyone's. There is a Resbot ready to repair, which will make things a bit harder for Goopy. Oh, the Resbot now for Goopy as well, a bit further back. And this is a very, very good trade for Goopy here. Managing to outnumber Fiddler's grunts effectively and pushing Fiddler right back. You have to be careful about pushing too far because that number advantage he had will run out quickly when pushed up to an opponent's factory. But at the same time, he does look like he's trying to make a little bit of a dent at the bottom here as he tries to grab the constructor, sorry, with a whole 1% health. Literally has 3 health. Oh, and stopping the LLT getting built would be big. That is great play by Goopy. Goopy currently, though, massive energy stall with the wind dropped. He is going to try and just kill this area, but that LLT should be enough now to keep this guy safe. Still, losing 2 constructors is a big loss. He does lose a Resbot, though, just due to prioritization of what he's moving. Quickly looking over at the bases, though, while we got a sec. Goopy has been slowly expanding his eco with getting a wind farm up and going. This con was idle, no longer is. He could probably do with another expansion con, to be honest with you. He's got 2 mexes right beside his base that he still hasn't captured. Not only that, but all this lot up here and, you know, the ones in the middle and at the bottom. It's taken a bit too long to expand, and because of that, Fiddler does technically have, well, had, at least when he did have control of this section, more metal extractors than his opponent, and it's not going to take long for Goopy to catch up with that if he tries. But Fiddler has 2 cons expanding at the north, 1 con expanding at the south, and just in general has more build power. You can see here 60%. As we kind of zoom in over here and try and double click, you know, Fiddler has 6 cons to Goopy's. Oh, now he has 6 because he's just built another one up here. But realistically, before it was 3, you know, over here. So definitely could do with more build power, but Goopy doesn't have the energy for that build power, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Been staying a long time in the grunt phase of the game here. And this is the big difference between 1v1s and 8v8s. In 8v8, sometimes you don't even build grunts or like those early units because they just become so irrelevant so quickly. Now, res-botted armies may become a little bit of a problem for Goopy if he's not careful. He does still have army advantage. And also, when attacks like this happen and Fiddler's positioned his army badly, that works out very well for Goopy. Goopy's micro is still on point then, it seems, even after such a long time away from the game. And does a tremendous job surrounding that army of Fiddler, getting a lot of flanking damage on, getting those numbers down quick, and the Resbots come in to repair but get annihilated. And now with a slow but steady line of thugs making their way down, it is going to make things a little bit more difficult for Fiddler. Oh, he actually manages to keep that thug alive. That's surprising. Now the Resbot army is behind, actually resing everything. There is 1k of metal sat here right now. Now remember what I said earlier on, you get thugs just on this hill. That's going to be enough to start raining damage onto the main base. So it's going to be difficult for Fiddler fighting this losing battle, especially if he continues getting full control of the rest of the map, Goopy. At the moment though, again, his expansion speed is yet to be desired. Still with 2 mexes here, 2 mexes here that have yet to be capped. Idle constructors. No idle constructors actually, but 3 uncapped there. You know, the 3 uncapped here. There's a lot of real estate. Some could say free real estate for Goopy, and yet Goopy is definitely not taking advantage of it. Whereas Fiddler has basically taken advantage of every metal extractor available to him, at least at this point. He is investing in a lot of LLTs here in an attempt to try and stop any push, and these thugs of Goopy will get killed here, I think. But this force manages to run by, gets the LLTs, and will probably be able to run away pretty fine. Surprising that Goopy turns around on that. And here comes the vehicle lab on the hill, as we mentioned earlier on from Fiddler. And pounders are something you are scared of when you play as thugs, because they are just so good. And actually, surprisingly, we see 2 grunts have managed to make it into Goopy's base here. There should be enough build power to eat the grunts pretty quickly, but he still does lose metal extractors. And considering he still hasn't taken these 2 here, it might take him a while to get them back again. Now Goopy needs to use these hills to his advantage. With the speed of pounders here, they're going to be slow going up any hills. But as their range is fairly similar, 380 to 315, there's not that much of a difference. Kiting pounders may be a little bit difficult. And so far the pounders are doing work. And Goopy can't build up a critical mass of thugs here. Also, all the grunts just get completely destroyed as well by pounders. Back in Goopy's day, pounders were rubbish. Generally known as one of the worst tanks just due to how slow they were. But these days, generally seen as a pretty reliable tank for Cortex here, so we'll see how he decides to counter them. The best counter is to just not go where the tanks are. Due to their speed and how slow they are, why bother? Why not just go somewhere else? And it looks like that might be Goopy's plan, as he is moving all of his forces up here to the north and grouping up a large amount of pawns. Sorry, not pawns, grunts, to just try and break through somewhere. Both players with air now. Oh, Goopy actually doing a Tech 2 transition. I guess it kind of makes sense, although I would love to have seen him control a bit more of the map, economy-wise, before going into this. Like, this is the point, right? Goopy is pushed up, was pushed up to here, right? This section at the bottom was not under Fiddler's control at all, right? But Goopy only owns, if I can delete the blooming map markers, Goopy only owns this. So even though Goopy was pushed up so far and was completely contained in Fiddler, he really hasn't made the most of it by getting map control. Getting a fairly decent trade there against Fiddler. Having these thugs on the high ground. It doesn't look like much of a high ground, but there is a high ground here. You gotta remember, it actually technically increases their range ever so slightly. Oh, but that's a huge res ball blob just getting completely destroyed by a single pounder shot. Not good. Not good for Goopy at all, especially now that he's trying to transition Tech 2. He really could have done with that metal. Tried to get that pounder wreck, but it's not worth the risk. Realizing that there's more stuff up here He sends some grunts over, but you can just see the stream of thugs crossing the map now. Kind of surprised he didn't clear up this corner. A couple of rocket bots and building a radar up here, which like a bit further forward. You could just have them F move and work pretty effectively to clear out that corner, but no. Nice strong push here by Goopy. Well and truly securing that reclaim field for now at least. But with shurikens coming out and brutes, no fighters coming over to support, which is surprising from Goopy. I expected some fighters here. It's just like a battle along a line here. No new reinforcements for Goopy are just coming in. So much reclaim. 3k metal reclaim just right outside Fiddler's base. Army value has now tipped over to Fiddler's side. Purely just due to the fact that he lost, Goopy lost everything here. He is rezzing everything though, so if he's able to secure this reclaim field and res everything, this is going to be a real tough time for Fiddler here. Fiddler is preparing a bombing run off to the side. You could just see it on the mini-map here. Will that be enough? He knows his opponent is now Tech 2 as well because he just spotted it. We'll select Fiddler's economy here for a second. That reclaim field advantage has really helped Goopy here. To the point where we can see air constructors actually coming over here in an attempt to try and get some of that reclaim, and Goopy is having none of that, using his fighters there. Also, that kind of has pulled his fighters. Oh, he's having to use the bombers in defense now, giving away that he has bombers. Airfight takes place elsewhere. And that has actually meant that Goopy now has no more fighters left, pretty much. Air Lab destroyed first as well. Was there ever a Tech 2 constructor out of this Tech 2 factory? Yes, a single one. And as he desperately tries to build a flak that ain't gonna get built. Yeah. But at the same time, Fiddler's base is getting destroyed as well. So although the bombing run will work wonders, Fiddler's calm getting surrounded here by thugs. Fiddler will not be able to degun everything. He's trying to build LLTs here in a wall to kind of defend him briefly. 7% health. 5% health, but more units are coming, and it doesn't matter that Goopy doesn't have a base because he's also got a second factory. There goes the Tech 2 lab, and yes, now Goopy will lose everything here if he just leaves it as it is, but he kind of thinks that he's got what it takes here to finish the game off anyway, which is why he's not giving up. Very to the nail kind of finish here. If this attack does fail and Fiddler survives somehow, then realistically Fiddler's in a decent position to eat all this. But saying that, look at the res ball bob behind. This is definitely Goopy's game here. Very, very well played. Even though he could have done better with his economy side of things, but nevertheless,
Commander destroyed.
Goopy takes the win, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this one and the return of the Goopy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you all next time.